The first thing I heard that Saturday morning wasn't birds or waves, that it was laughter too loud, too smug, and coming from a place that had been silent for 57 years. I rolled out of bed, still in yesterday's t-shirt and sweatpants, and walked to the wide second-floor window that overlooks the narrow inlet we've always called the Narrows. What I saw turned my stomach inside out. 60, maybe 70 people were spread across the private dock my great-grandfather, Jonah Caldwell, built with his own hands in 1965. Portable grills smoked, Bluetooth speakers blasted yacht rock garbage, cheap plastic chairs littered the tick planks. Kids used my lawn like a water park. N right in the center, holding a bright orange megaphone like she was about to announce the Kentucky Derby, stood Vanessa Hargrove, president of the Harbor's Edge Homeowners Association, self-crowned queen of everything within a 5-mile radius. She wore her signature white tennis skirt and visor combo, looking for all the world like she belonged there. She didn't. That dock, that narrow strip of water, that 2-acre waterfront parcel, every square inch of ITs belonged to the Caldwell family since before Harbor's Edge even existed. Jonah bought it in 1965, 12 years before the first Pastel McMansion went up. He turned down millions from developers who wanted to turn it into a marina. He told them, in writing and in perpetuity, this stays private. But Vanessa had spent the last 11 months convincing the entire neighborhood that the dock was shared community space. She'd doctored maps, cherry-picked old minutes, and repeated the lie so often that people started believing their own memories were wrong. I just stood there, frozen, watching strangers drink mimosas on my legacy. Then I noticed the sign, the heavy bronze, private property, no trespassing plaque. I had bolted to the gate myself 6 weeks earlier, was lying face down in the mud, the post bent at a perfect 90-degree angle. Someone had taken a sledgehammer to it. That was the moment the anger shifted from hot to ice cold. I didn't bother changing clothes. I didn't grab coffee. I walked straight down the path in slippers, fists clenched so tight my knuckles went white. By the time I reached the dock, the music had died, and every head turned toward me like I was the uninvited guest. Vanessa spotted me, and her smile widened, the slow, practiced smile of a predator who thinks the trap just snapped shut. "Good morning, Alexander," she called through the megaphone, loud enough for the cheap seats across the water. "So glad you could join us for community spirit breakfast. Gorgeous day to share the waterfront, don't you think?" I stepped onto the dock. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. "This is private property," I said, voice calm, the way you talk to a toddler holding a loaded gun. "Every one of you needs to pack up and leave, right now." Vanessa let out a theatrical laugh that echoed off the water. "Private." She turned to the crowd for effect. "Alexander, sweetheart, you're confused. This dock has been a common area amenity for over 20 years. It's in the Covenant Section 4, page 19. Maybe you should reread your welcome packet." A few people nodded like she'd just quoted scripture. I pulled out my phone and started recording phase. License plates, the bent sign, the grill still smoking on my tick planks. "I'm documenting criminal trespass," I announced clearly. "You have 10 minutes before the sheriff arrives." Vanessa's smile flickered for half a second, then locked back into place. "Go ahead and call," she shrugged. "The deputies know how things work around here. This dock has been community since before you were born." An older resident, Walter Brooks, stood near the boat lift. He'd lived here 40 years. When our eyes met, he gave the tiniest shake of his head. "Don't push it." Nobody else said a word. They just stared, sipping their mimosas, waiting to see who would blink first. I walked back to the house, called the non-emergency line, and spent 43 minutes on hold while the party kept going. When Deputy Alvarez finally showed up, he looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. I handed him the 1965 deed, the original survey, the tax records, everything. He studied them, nodding slowly. "These look legitimate, Mr. Caldwell." Vanessa appeared like a shark smelling blood, clutching a 3-inch red binder. "Officer, the covenants clearly grant the association irrevocable access to all waterfront improvements," she recited. "This is a civil matter." The deputy handed my deed back. "Sorry, sir, without a court order, I can't remove anyone. You'll have to take it up with the HOA or file in circuit court." And just like that, he left. As his cruiser pulled away, Vanessa leaned in close enough for me to smell her coconut sunscreen. "You should have played nice, Alex," she whispered. "Now everyone sees you for what you are, a greedy little man who hates children and sunshine." She turned back to her audience and raised the megaphone. Who wants pancakes? I stood alone on my own dock while the music cranked back up. That night, I ordered the biggest, heaviest steel, no trespassing signs in the state, custom engraved, bolted through concrete, impossible to bend. I also started printing every document I owned. This wasn't about a dock anymore. This was about whether a loud, organized lie could erase a century of truth. The next 2 weeks were a map in weaponized bureaucracy. Vanessa sent certified letters fining me $500 a day for unauthorized permanent structures, my new steel signs. She posted on the neighborhood Facebook page that I was trying to steal community property. Someone photoshopped devil horns on a picture of me and made it the group cover photo. But every attack gave me another piece of evidence. I retained Sarah Mitchell, a property rights attorney famous for eating HOAs for breakfast. She took one look at the original 1965 documents and grinned like a wolf. They don't have a leg to stand on. Alex, adverse possession, impossible. Your family has continuously excluded the public. The only question is how hard you want to hit back. I wanted to hit back with a freight train. While Sarah prepared the civil suit, I went hunting. First discovery: Vanessa's husband, Derek Hargrove, owns Harbor Landscaping, only company the HOA has hired for 15 years. Last year alone they billed $94,000 for dock restoration and electrical upgrades. I walked the dock with a flashlight. Same 57-year-old planks, same rusted junction box. Second discovery: in 2019, Vanessa quietly amended the bylaws to declare the Narrows dock a limited common element. Florida law requires 75% owner approval to transfer property rights. She got 52%. The amendment was illegal on its face. Third discovery: 6 months earlier, she had secretly petitioned the county to declare a public easement across my land. The county laughed her out of the building. I have the denial letter. Fourth, and best of all, an email chain accidentally sent to the entire board and quickly recalled, but not before I screenshotted it. Vanessa County denied the easement. We need to manufacture 7 continuous years of open public use to restart the adverse possession clock. Schedule monthly community events on the Caldwell dock immediately. Photos, witnesses, the works. That single email turned her from misguided president into the architect of a criminal conspiracy to steal private property. I was holding dynamite, but I needed the whole neighborhood to watch it explode. I forced an emergency general meeting. Vanessa tried every trick to block it, changed the venue twice, claimed scheduling conflicts, even threatened to call security. Didn't matter. Florida law says 20% of owners can demand a meeting. We had 42%. The night before the meeting, Walter Brooks and Mark Chen, the HOA treasurer and only CPA on the board, showed up at my door with a thumb drive. Mark's hands were shaking. I've been keeping records for 3 years. I can't be part of fraud anymore. Inside were bank statements, forged invoices, board meeting recordings, everything. We stayed up until 4 a.m. building the presentation. Redundancy on redundancy. 3 laptops, 2 projectors, cloud backup, printed handouts for 200 people. If Vanessa wanted a war, she was about to get Waterloo. The community center was packed, 187 chairs filled. People standing 3 deep along the walls. Vanessa called the meeting to order in a Navy power suit, voice dripping with fake calm. Then she recognized me for new business. 10 minutes, maximum. I walked to the podium, plugged in the first laptop, and looked out at the crowd. Tonight, I began. You're going to see facts, not opinions, not feelings, facts. And when we're done, you'll never look at this board the same way again. Slide 1, 1965 County Survey Map. Parcel outlined in red. Owner, Caldwell Family Trust, no easements. Slide 2, original DDI fee, simple absolute. Slide 3, the county's official denial of Vanessa's easement petition. Slide 4, the illegal 2019 bylaw amendment, 52%. Vote when 75% was required. Slide 5, the email, giant bold text. We need to manufacture 7 continuous years of open public use. The room detonated. Vanessa lunged for the projector cord. Mark intercepted her like a linebacker. Slide 6, $94,000 in fraudulent invoices to Derek Hargrove's company. Slide 7, side by side. Photos, 1965, doc versus today. same nails, same rot. Mark took the mic. As your treasurer, I formally accuse President Hargrove of theft, fraud, and breach of fiduciary duty. Sarah Mitchell, my attorney, stood in the back next to a deputy district attorney I'd invited as a guest. Vanessa's face went the color of printer paper. Walter Brooksati, 1 year old, voice shaking with rage, stood up. I knew Jonah Caldwell. He was the most generous man I ever met, but he drew a line at his family's land. Vanessa, he spat on his grave. The applause was thunder. Someone started chanting, vote, vote, vote. Mark moved for immediate removal of the president and the entire board. The vote was 179-3. Vanessa grabbed her purse and tried to bolt. 2 off-duty deputies blocked the door. 3 weeks later, the district attorney indicted Vanessa Hargrove on felony theft, scheme to defraud, and official misconduct. She took a plea, 22 months in state prison, $140,000 restitution, permanent ban from ever serving on any HOA board in Florida. Derek's company was blacklisted. The new board, led by Mark and Walter, repealed every illegal amendment, refunded the stolen money, and sent every single resident a written apology for allowing mob rule to override truth. I paid to have the dock completely restored, new tick, new wiring, new lights. Then I did something Jonah would have loved. I created the Caldwell Narrows guest program. Any family in Harbor's Edge can apply for weekend access free. Kids fish, parents grill, dogs swim, but the rules are carved into a bronze plaque at the entrance. This land remains private. Access is a privilege, not a right. Respect it, or lose it forever. Every 4th of July, I open the gates wide and host a real community party on my terms. And every year, when someone asks why I didn't just sell and move, I point to the small glass case in the boathouse. Inside sits Jonah's 1958 compass. The needle still points north, and no amount of megaphones, fake votes, or entitled Karens will ever change that. So tell me in the comments, have you ever had to fight an HOA that tried to steal what was yours? Was I too harsh, or exactly harsh enough? Drop your story below, smash that like button, and subscribe, because sometimes the quiet guy with the old compass is the most dangerous neighbor on the block.